All right, we are live. Hey, welcome everybody. This is Johnny Wu here with MDI. Today we have great honor to have one of the award-winning friend of mine, Conrad Faraj. Faraj, right?
It's Farah, but
Faraj.
everyone pronounces it differently.
Okay, so welcome, Conrad.
Thank you.
Welcome to this thing. To have a good time with us. So tell us a little bit about your background. Tell us about how you started everything.
Yeah, so I'm originally from a small city in Central America called San Pedro Sula. So Spanish is like my native tongue. And I moved to the States when I was 12, which is when I started kind of getting interested in making movies and just with friends and, for like school projects and things. And yeah, I've had, that habit, that, side hobby that I had, I've just became this profession over the years, and I've been doing it for like 17 years or so, maybe 18.
Wow.
And it's been a fun ride. It's good. Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the first project you started with?
Oh, that's a good question. The first thing that I ever did, well, when I started doing movies, I started writing short stories. And I wanted people to make the short stories into movies. And I realized that no one was going to make a 12-year-old short stories into movies. So I said, I'm going to do it myself. Why didn't I do it myself? So the first ever project that I did is called Conrad, the Big Disaster, which is a short film based on one of my short stories, which was the fifth short story that I wrote. So I said, I'm going to take my best short story, which is The Big Disaster. And it was called the Conrad series. And it was me as the main character, and I was like a hybrid of Indiana Jones / he was also like a Jedi Knight kind of thing. It was ridiculous. I mean, I was a child basically, and yeah, that was my first project, and it's terrible. I mean, it's atrocious. But at the time, I thought it was like one of the best movies I'd ever seen. I was like, oh my god, I did this! It's so cool. I was filming on a VHS camera. I was editing on like VHS tapes, like pausing the camera, and I kind of was teaching myself at the very early stage how to edit through VHS.
Wow.
But yeah, that's the first thing I ever did.
So you had to do play, pause, record, play, pause, record.
Yeah.
I remember that time. Man, made me feel old now. Jeez.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where can I see that movie?
Oh, Johnny. Oh, you're embarrassing me, man. You're right off the bat.
I told you gonna do that, but
good. It's on YouTube. If you search Conrad, the Big Disaster, gosh, you'll find it, and it's awful. And it's also like half of it's in Spanish and half of it's in English, because when I came to this country, I was mostly speaking Spanish all the time. Yeah. So like half the movie is like a weird hybrid of Spanglish, and it's a bunch of Harry Potter stuff. I mean, it was weird. It was weird.
That's okay. I can speak Spanish, so I can understand you very well.
Oh, so good.
I can translate everything in English and post it online so people can make fun of you too. How about that?
Oh,
I'm just kidding. We're not gonna do that. So after that, so what prompted you to get better and better, or you just keep going, or
Well, I kept doing them because they became, like I said earlier, it became like a habit to do these movies. It just became natural to me to start making them because I was having so much fun, and because I was getting a reaction out of all my friends and family. Now I think looking back, they were probably lying to me because these movies are so bad. But back then they were like, "Oh, that was brilliant, good job." They were just being everyone was being so supportive, that it made me believe that I was making like really cool movies. So I kept doing them. And then it was in high school. It was around high school that I started really taking it seriously. It was in 2007 that I did a short film called The Candyman Conspiracy. And The Candyman Conspiracy was my first HD movie. And to me, HD was like the next level. Like that, I'm a real filmmaker if I film in HD. And it was a 720p camera. So I filmed this gangster film in Honduras. I went back to my country. So I filmed this gangster thing. And it's actually like, I don't know if it holds up today, but it's pretty cool. Like I'm not ashamed of that one. That one was actually really good. That was my first attempt at like serious filmmaking.
Wow.
And I shot it in like 10 days in Honduras with like a bunch of family members and a bunch of cousins and stuff. And I made them all gangsters with fake guns, and like they were doing cocaine and like kidnapping children. It was this intense thing. I was 16 years old doing this, by the way. But it was this intense thing. Yeah, I mean, gosh, it was hardcore. Like looking back now as an adult, looking back as to the plots of my films when I was younger, I'm like, how did I even think of doing that? That's so intense. But that really is what taught me how to make movies. After Candyman Conspiracy, they became better. Like all my movies started becoming better and better. And then in my senior year of high school, I was just about 18, I think, I did a movie called The Artist, which was like my first serious like attempt at like serious filmmaking. It wasn't campy. It was like a drama. And I did it as a school project, but I submitted that to festivals, and it was the first film that a festival was accepted, and it started winning awards at festivals. And we shot that on an HV30 Handycam, you know, and I had the widescreen adapter to it. I was starting to learn more, and I was editing my own stuff on digitally now, not through VHS. Now it was digital for me, which is great. Actually, Johnny, that's the first time I ever saw you, because the film premiered in Cleveland at the Indie Gathering in 2000, and I think it was 2009 or something. And I think I saw you there. That
was the reason why I asked you to be Facebook friend. That was the
really
reason.
That was the movie.
That was the movie. That was a movie that got us kind of connected. But I didn't know each other yet. But that was a movie. So before that movie, my question would be, I'm curious. Before that movie, were you like doing everything yourself, or you have crews and to help you out?
Yeah. It was mostly me doing everything. Okay. Mostly. Like for Candyman Conspiracy, yes, it was me doing everything.
Wow.
Now, mind you, I didn't know much of what I was doing. I didn't know much about lighting. I had no idea what lenses even were. It was all like a camcorder. But yeah, no, it was all just me doing things. I mean, I would have friends like move things around here and there and rearrange things, but it was mostly just me with the camera, and I would have like a shotgun mic strapped to the camera. I mean, looking back, I wish I would have had a sound guy and proper sound. I mean, not that the movie sounded terrible, because I got a lot of coverage, because even back then I was getting a lot of coverage, but yeah, they could have been better. But
what about what about The Artist? The Artist?
Yeah, that one I had a small crew. Yes, I did have. That was like the first one where I was like, I had a small crew, and my producer at the time, Meg Quisenberry, was a big part of that project, and her and my friend Bash from New York also helped me write the script, and all three of us kind of wrote the script together. It was something that I've been wanting to do for a couple of years now in high school. And then we gathered some crew members to do just minor things, like makeup and things like that, and to just help with like, pushing me around in a wheelchair, for example, like basic grip stuff. So it was all very primitive, but it gave us an understanding of what a film set kind of looks like. And and it wasn't until years later that I really realized what a full set looks like.
Oh, very cool. So all this pre The Artist short films, are they all available on your website right now, that YouTube, that we can see?
Yeah, if I have like over 200 movies on YouTube, and if they go on YouTube and if they scroll back to like the way back, like 2005, 2006 eras, you will find all these horrible, little shorts, but they were fun to make. I had the time of my life making them. That was like my childhood, was like going out with friends and making little short films like every weekend, every other weekend. And that to me was like my film school. That was my film school.
That's pretty cool. I mean, that's how you learn. You get better every time you do it too. I mean, I've seen the stuff you did recently. They're beautiful. They're beautiful, and they're really well put together. So if you have got this far, that means that you got better. It's not being like some people we know who does never get better with their filmmaking stuff. We're not going to mention the names.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. No, we try to get better. I mean, I myself said with every movie that I do, even if I fail with this movie, I'm going to be better at something. Right. So every single project, I am always learning. I'm a student of film first and foremost. Right. So yeah.
So we got a couple of questions here already, and before we're gonna ask those questions to you, Conrad, I want to let people know that for you to be able to type your question right away, because it takes about 20 to 30 seconds for me to actually see them. So Ron George got this question for you. He asked, what was your hardest scene to shoot out of your old films?
Out of my old films?
All your films. Sorry, out of all your films.
The hardest scene to shoot. Oh, right off the bat with hard questions. I like it. I told everyone, ask me hard questions. It's a hard question, Ron. Gosh, I've done so many movies. I mean, I've done so many short films. I've done several features, but so I think the hardest scene that I've ever tackled was a very complex visual effects sequence in Fighting the Sky. So in Fighting the Sky, which is one of my last feature films, it's a big alien invasion film, which is available on many platforms right now. And basically, it was the first time we saw a UFO. So we had the team of investigators in the movie go to this open field, and they fly this drone into the air. and then the drone is like searching for like life and sounds and stuff, and they're all searching through the field for sounds, and the drone crashes into an invisible barrier, and then the drone like comes crashing down, and then the UFO like appears like magically, it just kind of dissolves in, and it like lands on top of the characters, and then it chases after them, and they run away. And that was such a complex sequence because it involved so many visual components. And I didn't really storyboard. I mean, I shot listed, but I didn't storyboard. So I had to really, and I was my own visual effects supervisor on set. So I had to really think where the UFO was going to be at all times, where every digital element was going to be at all times. And not only that, but the pacing was extremely fast. It had to make, the scene had to be exciting and fast paced. It was a big action piece. So I think that was probably the hardest scene from a technical standpoint that I've ever had to shoot.
Wow. So, Klaus Newman say hey, and Vincent he thought it was the Times Square is the hardest one you had to film. Dana, she say hey too. So
hello.
Cool. All right, we got another question for you. Rolling Stop Films asks, do you write your features?
Do I write my features? Yes, I mostly write my features. Sometimes I'll get a co-writer to write them with me, or to write the story, which is very common for me to just kind of get other people's input. I have a lot of story editors as well. A lot of my producers are story editors, like Chris and Ern are story editors, or my production designer Kristen is a story editor. But yeah, mostly I do all the writing myself. I like to get a draft, and then I present it to my team, and then they say, hey, this is good, or this is crap, fix it, and then I'm like, okay, let me fix it. Let me try something else. But for the most part, it's me. There's only been one feature film that I didn't write myself, where I commissioned a writer out of New York, a good friend of mine named Candace Cook. And she wrote a film called The Wind is Watching, which was a co-written story by me and her. It was my idea, but we co-wrote the story together. And then I kind of commissioned her to write the screenplay because I knew that I wasn't going to have time to do it myself. And She did a wonderful job.
And that's the latest one, right? The one that you just finished?
No, Wind is Watching was 2012.
2012, okay. Yeah. Wow, you still can remember all the stuff. That's pretty cool. So we got Wayne say hi. Rob also say hi.
Hello.
Wayne mentioned commenting about the scene with the flying saucer. It's really good. So he actually enjoyed that.
Oh, great. Thank you.
So I know that. So, okay, not talking about acting wise. We're talking about all the behind the scenes stuff. As a director, producer, writer, editor, and animation, side, visual effects. Which job or hats is the best one or the most easiest one you think with the whole thing you had to do?
Oh, geez. The easiest job. The easiest, right? Yeah, I've worn all those hats. Gosh, the easiest, honestly, definitely not producing and definitely not editing. Okay. So I think the easiest job is probably directing because it comes so natural to me. Okay. It really is. I mean, and I feel like if I have good enough people along my side to make these movies, then it's an easy job. And I think directing, I mean, I hate to say it, but that my job is easy, but it's easy when you have a good team. Right. I think I also produce my projects, and it's harder because producing is putting them together and gathering everyone and making sure every detail is perfect, up until the moment we start shooting and everything. And then editing, I've done that, and it's tedious. It's so tedious to me to edit. I mean, I can do it well, but it's not my favorite. I love when I'm editing with an editor, like Patrick, my usual editor. I love it when he's cutting things up and I tell him, tweak this, do that. Mm-hmm. And I love that. I love seeing my vision come to life and having to approve it. But yeah, no, everything else is honestly harder than directing. I think that's the easiest for me.
That's pretty cool. Okay, now get a harder question now.
Good.
Mention the most complicated job you had to do per each responsibility, each hat that you wear. So what is the most difficult thing to do when you're a director? What's the most difficult thing you do as a producer, as an editor, as an animator, as the et cetera, not including acting, because that's another question I'm going to ask you later.
Okay, so what's the most difficult thing about
most complicated thing you do per each one of those position hats?
Okay. Oh,
or frustrating thing you do.
I like that. That's a good question. It's a hard question.
Or what the most frustrating thing you would do as a director? Let's start with the first. As a producer, what is the most frustrating thing you experience?
Okay. when projects fall through, I think, as a producer, or you know, or when you're trying to raise funds, or when you're trying to put it together and it's not clicking, you know, or like you can't find the financing. I think the hardest thing for most indie filmmakers is to get financing. You know, everyone has a story to tell, everyone wants to make their movies, but the hard part is, how do you get the movie started? How do you get the money to pay the crew to do anything? And you know, it was hard for me back 10 years ago, and it's just as hard for me now. You know, even though I've had a couple of feature films, I mean, it's a little easier now, but it's still very difficult. Yeah. And it's that, I think that's the toughest part, is to convince other people to say, believe in my vision, believe in what I'm doing, in order to make the story come to life. So I always thought that producing, that aspect of producing, the financing aspect, is the most difficult. It's just to get it all together. And then to keep it together, because I've been in situations where I was in Los Angeles, and this investor came in to kind of visit us and talk about this new project, and he pledged $500,000 into one of our movies. And but here's the catch: we had to reach $2 million to make the movie, because that was our budget. That's what we proposed to him. We said, we're going to reach $2 million to make this movie. How much can we count you in for? And at the end of the dinner, he said, put me in for $500,000. And that to me was like El Dorado. Like, I have never been offered that much money in my life to make, I could have made that movie 10 times, honestly. Yeah. But we wanted to reach the 2 million because we wanted to bring in these big actors and, and the big players. And I met with Jenna Malone. I met with like these big, James Franco. I met a bunch of big actors in Los Angeles, but then we never got the financing. We never reached the 2 million. And that was just so frustrating. And I'm still frustrated today. That was 5 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Okay, so that's good, unfortunately. And what about as a director?
As a director, overthinking. I'm always overthinking. Is this the right shot? Is this the right movement of the camera? Is this the right emotion that I want out of this scene? I'm always questioning my decisions. I mean, obviously, I study the material that I'm going to do, that I'm going to approach. I do my homework before I step onto the set. Right. But then you're always questioning yourself. You're questioning, the rhythm of the scene. Is this scene gonna make the movie better, or is it gonna be worse? Did I do a good job doing this? It's almost like an actor questioning their motives, with their acting. It's the same thing for a director. You're always constantly, I mean, at least for me, I'm constantly questioning, could I have done that better? Would this have played better as a static shot or as a moving shot with a dolly? And what's that gonna say about the scene? Right. So I'm always questioning, and I'm overthinking like my shots, I guess. So. Yeah. So
what about DP?
Oh, for DP, that's okay. Well, here's my constant struggle when I'm DPing is, can someone better be doing this? I'm always thinking that. I'm always thinking, am I doing terrible right now, or like, can someone better? And usually, like, it just depends on the project, like for Blowback, which was our last 48 that we did, I was the DP. And like halfway through, I was like, am I doing a good job, or am I just like over my head right now? Like that, there was a point where we were running out of light for one of the scenes, and I'm like crap, man. Like I got to finish this shoot, like no matter what right now. And I know it's not going to look my best. Right. Could someone more experienced have done it better? So it's almost the same thing as directing. Except for directing, I know that I'm the right man for the job always. I'm very confident about that. But when it comes to like me DPing work, I'm like, did I do a good job? Because I'm not like a trained director of photography. I know how to do it extremely well. But is there someone better? And how would they have done it? And how would it be different than me? So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So
now, the other one, as an editor.
Oh, geez. Oh, my goodness. That's the most tedious one of all. Yeah, so I've been editing on the same software since I was 14 years old, which is a very unusual software. I edit on Vegas Pro.
Okay.
And I started on Vegas Pro 12, and now I'm on Vegas Pro 6. I'm sorry, Vegas Pro 6. And now I'm on Vegas Pro 16. So I've moved up with Vegas Pro, and I mean it's a nice software. I mean, I edited Fight in the Sky on that, but editing to me is just so tedious because it takes so long. It's like a commitment. Like you really have to be in a relationship with your edit. And I'm talking about feature films mostly. Like for Fight in the Sky, it took me several months to finish Fight in the Sky because it was such a complex film with so many visual effects, and I'm doing it on Vegas Pro. It's not like Adobe. It's not like a software that's like meant to handle big stuff. And I'm here handling 6K footage on Vegas Pro on my computer, and it's barely holding on, and it's always crashing, and I have to edit sequences separately and then like stitch them together. So it's frustrating. So I guess honestly, like about the thing that frustrates me most about editing is how long it takes. and me being patient. That's why I love it when, you know, one of my editors just kind of hops in and like takes care of it. And literally, like for example, Patrick, my editor, he's a genius. Like literally I'll send him something, I'll send him some footage, and within like a day or two, he'll have it all cut together exactly how I wanted. And I'm just like, how? This would have taken me 2 weeks, you know?
Yeah, I think usually because you have people already work with you all this time, so they already know the way you think, the way you do things, and so they can actually work with you really well.
Yeah,
that's the reason why, you know, we all have our own crew, and sometimes we never change them because they're the same people with the family that grew up with the same environment. So you get to know each other really well.
We know each other's styles. Absolutely.
Yeah. So Vincent got this question. Actually, I have a bunch of questions right here. And what's the one genre that you think would be the hardest to direct?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Who asked that question? That's such a good question.
Vincent.
Vincent. Okay, Vincent. That the hardest genre to direct. Well, I've already tackled science fiction, and that was fairly tough. And oh gosh. I would say Western, but I've done so much research on Westerns that I know I would ace it for sure. So honestly, for me, it would be musical. I think a musical would be like the hardest one for me because it involves choreography, which I've never really dealt with that much. And I would love to do it. I would love to do a musical. You know, and if the right script ever comes into my lab with the right music producer or whatever, I'd be so down to do a musical. But I feel like that would be the one that would challenge me the most.
Yeah, musical is very difficult. I did the Inner Self, and that was
I know.
Very frustrating and very depressing.
To
go through, but we'll see. That's good. We'll see. Rolling Stop Film got this question. How was it being interviewed by Jim Donovan?
Oh, Jim Donovan from WKYC. It was cool. You know, honestly, like, I mean, I hate to sound ignorant, but I had no idea who he was. I really didn't.
Really?
I'm sorry, but I had no idea who he was. You know, and I was doing an interview with Angela, my lead actress on Fighting the Sky, and she knew who he was. And my friend David Cummings, who set up the interview, like, he was a big fan of his. And I'm over here like, I have no idea who he is. I'm glad I don't know who he is, because if I did, I'd be way more nervous. But he's such a nice guy. He was such a cool guy. It was a great interview. That was last year, I think. Yeah, he was such a wonderful guy. No, he's awesome. Yeah, it was
excellent.
Good.
It was good. So I got more question here. Gigi Rail asked this question. What's your favorite horror movie that you made?
A horror movie that I've made.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's probably. Oh, okay. It's a tie. It's a tie between two movies. It's The Unseen, which is the horror short that we did for the 48 last year, which I really loved. It's a nice little piece. It's a drama horror kind of thing. I was really trying to channel The Shining a little bit, you know, getting those creepy vibes, and also The Conjuring, which are two of my favorite horror movies. And yeah, so I'm really proud of The Unseen. I thought that was really, the performances in The Unseen are like some of my favorites that I've ever gotten, from Vincent and McKenna and Spencer and Morgan and Rachel. It's just a fantastic cast that really elevated that film. You know, and then there's another one is called The Weeping Woman, aka La Llorona, which is a Spanish film that I did in 2006. It's my most viewed YouTube video, and it's my most viewed movie of all time, with almost 1 million views on YouTube, which I made when I was literally 15 years old. And for whatever reason, I mean, even though it's not the best movie, it really isn't. It's kind of bad, but it holds such a special place because it was the first movie that kind of let people know that I could make movies. It was my most popular movie when I was very young, and people would always look at it and feel scared. You know, the quality of movies back then was not the best by anyone. I feel like a lot of indie filmmakers weren't so great back then, because we were all starting out. We couldn't even use lenses back then. Honestly, we had to use camcorders and try to adapt things to them. But that one, The Weeping Woman, just for whatever reason, stuck out as a good time. So I love those two horror movies. Yeah.
Okay. So that question already asked. So that's a big goal. Tyler got this question. What genre comes most naturally to you?
Most naturally to me, that's a good question. Drama, for sure.
Drama.
I feel like drama, it comes naturally. Drama and maybe action. I try to combine them both. Maybe a little bit of thriller, but for drama, I really just kind of resonate with. And I've been trying to explore it even more recently. I did a feature film called The Stars and the Storms, and that was just drama the whole way through, which I've never done. I've always had drama intertwined with a different genre, and this one was just drama. which I really, really enjoyed. So I think that one comes naturally. And when I did the 48 projects, for whatever reason, in 2018 and 19, I got drama both years. And we won both years. And it felt weird because I'm like, oh, you gave me my favorite genre. No, like, give me something harder. But no, it was great. I love dwelling into drama. And I tried doing it unconventionally. I try adding something new to that genre all the time. So yeah.
Cool. All right. So Wayne got this question with a follow-up question up too with that. You did a few quick quarantine films recently and some great 48 hours films. What do you enjoy more, making those quick films or the longer features, and why?
That's an excellent question, Wayne. I enjoy doing the longer films more, like Shades of Red and Blowback, which are the two that we just did. We're still filming Shades of Red, but I enjoyed that one more because I got to see my friends, and I got to see my people, and I got to do it with them. For the short films that I did in quarantine, it was like a lonely journey of just kind of doing it, like around my house with like my family and stuff. And even though it was a good time and it gave us something to do, it was cool. Nothing beats the experience of doing something with other people and sharing the art of filmmaking with those people. I thought that was great. And it's something that I missed. And when we got back into it, we were all very slow, because of the COVID. We all had to think differently. We had to think safer. So it definitely slowed us down a lot, which is why I've had a lot. This is the first short film where I've had more than 2 days of filming for a short film. We're having 5 days of filming for Shades of Red, which has never happened. But again, because we had to be safe and precautious.
Right. So, that's very important. Yeah, definitely very important. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so we got more questions here now. DJ, what has been your favorite location to film?
Oh, DJ, that's a hard question, man. Okay, all right. Well, my wonderful producer DJ on Stars and Storms got me some permits to film in New York City last year. And one of my dreams was to film out of Ohio, because I feel like I've set everything in Ohio. Like people might give me like a budget to do something, and I still film in Ohio. Not necessarily Cleveland, but it's always been in Ohio. Like Fighting the Sky, I shot mostly in Southern Ohio. But like for this new film, Stars and Storms, the story took place in New York City. And even though we filmed a lot of it in Cleveland, I wanted a lot of it also filmed in New York City. So DJ got us, she worked her magic for weeks with the New York film office, and she got us permits to shoot in Times Square. And, we shot in different parts of New York. We shot in, Manhattan, we shot in Central Park and stuff. And we got permits for all these amazing locations. But the most amazing place to me was Times Square. There was a moment where, I'm just standing in the middle of the set in Times Square, and the NYPD is holding back the crowd. And I have my crew there doing basically crowd control. And the sequence is literally 10 seconds in the movie. But for a second, I was like, oh my God, I am in Times Square with full permits doing this movie. And it was one of the coolest moments ever.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, very nice. Look at you, DJ. You got a hats off by Conrad here.
Yeah.
All right, so Kayla got this question related to locations. If you have unlimited budget, where would you be your dream location to film?
If I had an unlimited budget, okay. Oh, Iceland, for sure. I think I would love to film in Iceland, because Iceland just has so many cool locations, like they have like this black sand beach, and just, I don't know, it's so epic. And I feel like, yeah, they film so many things in Iceland, like Game of Thrones and Star Wars movies. So I feel like I would do some crazy epic science fiction movie, and I would set it in Iceland.
There you go.
So, definitely.
You need to do a little martial action film in the future too.
Oh, martial arts, yeah, 100%. I would be so down. Yeah.
There you go. So Brian Bauer is also in the group, and he got this question for you. Is there anyone you would really like to work with?
Oh, okay. That's a good question, Brian. Now, does he mean like Cleveland film, or just in general?
Let's say in general first, and then in Cleveland. How's that? Break it up.
Oh, you're making it harder. Okay, good. In general, I would like to. I mean, there's so many people I'd love to work with. Honestly, like I would just love to learn from these master directors. There's just so many influences that I've had in my life. James Wan is someone that I'd love to kind of shadow. He's an incredible director. I love the Conjuring series. I love what he's done to the horror genre. And it's funny because someone asked me that question many years ago, and I said James Wan, and that the next day I met James Wan, which was the craziest thing. So gosh, I think honestly, like James Wan is someone that I'd love to learn from. And then Christopher Nolan, I'd love to learn from him. I'd love to just like spend like a week on a Christopher Nolan set. And then Quentin Tarantino. I know I'm naming like film directors, but like I really just want to like, be on their sets and like learn from them, or have them work on my stuff and guide me and teach me. Because I feel like I have a lot to learn about filmmaking, and I know that these are the people that I look up to. So those are the people that I'd love to collaborate with and get involved with on a Hollywood scale, on a big scale. Now, as far as Cleveland film, oh geez, I mean, I haven't worked with so many people. There's just so many talented people out there that I'd love to work with, and that I haven't worked with. And now I'm being put on the spot. This is good. This is a good question. But I think there's a very
you probably don't want to mention too many names, because otherwise, if you miss somebody else, they're going to be upset with you.
I know. I'm going to mention one name. I'm going to mention just one name. And I think this person is just so incredibly talented, but I've never gotten a chance to work with them. And I think it would be a good collaboration. And his name is Johnny Woo. I think Johnny Woo would be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm going to leave it at that for sure.
Okay.
But yeah,
so how much are you now?
So don't forget to Venmo me later, Johnny.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So, we are at a halfway point already. It's already 7:30. Look at it. Time really flies.
Oh, wow.
And I want you to talk a little bit about the two latest projects you did, and also the Fight in the Sky. I know Fight in the Sky being distributed right now and been doing okay, right? Or doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It's doing good. Yeah. It's doing good. International is doing great. International, it's killing it. Yeah.
Good.
For sure.
So tell us a little about, how hard was it to get the distribution for Fight in the Sky? Well, let's talk about that first.
Yeah. So we shot Fight in the Sky, and I had no plans. Like, I knew that it could be a big movie and it could do all these things. And I was trying, I went Hollywood with it. Like, I wanted it to be like a Hollywood level movie on a very microscopic budget. And it's funny because we started out with $8,000 on Fight in the Sky. We started out with nothing. And then it slowly, we kept raising it. And then finally it was at a level that I was comfortable with. Thank God, because I was going to push through with whatever budget I had, because I really wanted to tell that story. So then we started putting out trailers for Fight in the Sky, which is a big no-no, I guess, for film festivals and stuff like that. Is, don't put out trailers. We want to be the premier company or festival to show your work. But I said,
wait, they didn't want you to play trailers, or
no? Certain big companies like Sony and Lionsgate, they don't want you showing it. They want to be like the ones showing trailers. Like if they buy your movie at a festival,
right.
So, but I said, I'm not gonna do that for this. I'm gonna show a couple of trailers, and I'm gonna see if I get any kind of buzz. And thankfully, I did. So I did not approach distributors. They approached me, which has never happened up until then. So I had a couple of companies approach me. I had a sales company approach me, which was High Octane, which you've also worked with. And High Octane approached me, and we listened to them. They had a very nice pitch. And they were really hyping me up, which was awesome. Like, they wanted to basically use me as like the brand. Like, we want to be in business making or showing Conrad Faraj movies. And I said, great, and they actually knew some of my other work that I'd done. And I liked their approach. So then I went with them. We signed with them as a sales agency, and they got us some deals overseas, which is where we recouped our money, was through, the film when it played in Japan and Korea, and it played in India. We played in Spain. We played in Iceland. We played in Sweden. We played in Brazil. And that's how we started recouping the money a little bit. And then eventually High Octane ended up being our distributors for the American release as well. I mean, we had offers from other companies for the American release, but I said, I'm just going to keep it with them because they seem to know what they're doing. And they did give us an offer as well. So that's how we got it distributed. Mm-hmm.
So I'm very happy to see that got really good worldwide distribution. And it's really well received in a lot of places. And unfortunately, it also got pirated. So how did you feel about being pirated? I mean, that was
it's funny because I was so angry when it was pirated, because it was pirated everywhere. Like, I would Google Fight in the Sky just to check on the reviews and everything, because we had a ton of reviews and we got a ton of buzz when it came out.
Yeah.
And I would just see like, download Fighting the Sky, and I'd be like, oh yeah, right. Click. Yep. It's the movie. It's the whole movie. Like, and it was everywhere, and it was in different languages, and it was subtitled in every language you can imagine. And then it was on YouTube, and it's still on YouTube. The whole thing's on YouTube, and it's like a 50-50 because like I look at the YouTube pirated link, and it has a crap ton of views, but it has such nice comments. Like, people are loving the movie, and I'm like, I need you guys to take it down. I love what you're saying, but take it down, So it's a weird, and we've tried submitting. It was on YouTube like 3 other times, and we took it down 3 times, and now it's like, it's a hassle.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, we've been through that all the time too, so it's very frustrating.
It is.
So after that, you decided to do this next feature film and this coming Shade of Red short film or long short film. Tell us about the process for the feature film first.
Yeah. So for Stars and Storms, I wanted to, in a way, rebrand myself because I feel like Fighting the Sky, the way that it was advertised was like a B movie, which is not my intention. My intention was to make a family-oriented science fiction thriller, kind of like early Spielberg stuff. And but then when they marketed the movie, they were really cool trailers and everything, but it was like a B movie. So then people started like approaching it like, oh, I'm about to buy or watch a B movie. And I don't want to be a B movie director. So then I said, I'm gonna completely steer away from that. It was great, all the buzz that we got and everything, and some of the reviews that we got, but I don't want to be known as this person. I want to be known as the guy that can direct movies, actual movies. So then I started writing The Stars and the Storms, which is something that I came up with in 2017. And I had the idea back then, but I didn't really start writing it until early last year. And then I really got into it, and then thank God we got some financing together, and it was a much smaller budget than Fighting the Sky because it wasn't as involved. We didn't need that many visual effects or this epic orchestral score or anything. But yeah, so then I kind of wanted to do a romance, like a drama, something that could really showcase my skills as a filmmaker, as a film director, that could tell a story just from an acting perspective and from a story perspective, and without any gimmicks whatsoever. And and that's what kind of got me going. That's what got me inspired. And we're in the final stages of post-production. We had a test screening at Case Western in January, and we got some really, really high test scores, some really good test scores on that. And then Shades of Red was something that I wanted to do also in 2017. I feel like 2017 I didn't do any movies, but I wrote a lot. And in 2017 I wrote Shades of Red, which was called A Little Red. You sent me that little proposal back then, I remember too. Oh, did I? Yeah. I was like, Johnny, help me do this movie. Yeah, I was kind of a little bit tied up, so I couldn't help you much. Yeah. So then I've been wanting to do a Little Red Riding Hood movie for a long time. My own take on it, my own crazy take on it, and it's a very different satirical movie. It's very gory, which I'm not usually like one for gore, but this one's like brutal. So Ron had a good time doing this one for sure. And we had some incredible makeup effects, but I wanted to tell a story, but I wanted to tell as a feature film. But I knew that I wasn't going to be patient enough to do it as a feature film. And now my career or my perspective as a filmmaker now has changed in the last 3 years. I want to do things a little bit that mean more to me. And I feel like Shades of Red is good enough as a short. It doesn't have to be this big thing. So we decided to do it, right now. So, yeah, it's a good time. Well, kind of a good time for 2020, but unfortunately we had COVID-19 going on, so everything got a little slowed down too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Exactly. So Brian got another question. He also mentioned about you should look at piracy as a weird form of complimenting you. Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely agree with that, Brian. It's flattering that people are I've never had that happen before on any level. And it's so strange. Just I can Google the movie and literally find it on so many websites. And I'll see Fighting the Sky, and I'll see the next Star Wars movie, and I'm like, oh, okay. It's weird, but it's definitely flattering. Yeah. So Brian, I have this question also. Before I ask you that question, Vincent want to know what's my cat's name, because John here, 16 years old, very spoiled. Just want attention. Every time he hears somebody on the line or talking to me, he had got in there and get a spotlight. So he is on the spotlight right now until he got bored. He go back to sleep. So anyway, Brian had this question. Let's see. How do you score? Wait, let me start over.
How do you score a test screening?
Who asked that?
Brian
Oh,
Bowers.
Brian. Okay, that's a good question, Brian. And I learned this while I was living in Los Angeles, because in Los Angeles I got the privilege to attend test screenings myself. I was invited I was in a test screening for The Disaster Artist, which is where I met James Franco, and I was also in a test screening for Inferno, which is where I met Ron Howard. And I learned what they were asking me. So then they would give the audience like sheets where they would score like, what did you think of the story? What did you think of this character? What about this character? What could you improve on the story? Did you like the music? What was your favorite part of the movie? What was your least favorite part of the movie? And so we give them a sheet, and it's anonymous. You cannot put your name on the sheet. So you get like, 200 people in a room, or for us, it was like more like 100 something. And I didn't know a lot of them. It was a lot of students from Case Western and stuff. And we played them the movie. And then we had like, I think overall like 90 something test sheets. And I read every single one. Not everyone was flattering, but for the most part, I'd say like 80% of the scores were very high. It said, I love this movie. I enjoyed this movie. I love these characters. This is a really great story. Love the ending. And then I also got to know which parts people like the least. And some of those have already been cut from the movie. So it really helps me shape the film. It helps me shape how to better construct the movie once it's released.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
James Barney got this question for you. Wait, now James. Ron George, sorry.
Okay.
I'm reading too many people text here.
Sure.
Ron George asks, when will Cupcake get her feature film?
Oh, yeah, Cupcake. Okay, so for those who don't know, Cupcake is our fake plastic lizard that we carry around as a film studio, and it's like our mascot. And it's been a joke on like every movie that we put Cupcake in the background somewhere. And sometimes I'm shocked myself. Like I'll see a movie and I had no idea that someone placed Cupcake somewhere. And then I'll be seeing Cupcake in the background, After seeing the movie so many times, I'm like, oh my God, Cupcake was right there. But yeah, I mean, I actually wrote, 3 years ago, 2017, I wrote a movie called Cupcake. And it was like this weird, and I wrote it on my phone because I was so bored. I feel like I wrote it on my phone, the whole movie. It was 70 pages. And I don't think I'll ever do it, but if someone ever wants to tackle the Cupcake movie, I will literally just hand them the script and be like, this is like a weird comedy thing. Go crazy with it. So hopefully maybe someday we'll see Cupcake's, claim to fame, because it's a pretty weirdly funny, very strange script.
So like John Woo, you have your special, him with his white pigeon, you have your special thing.
Yes, that's our signature. Yeah, exactly.
Don't you also make a special appearance in every one of your movies?
Me?
Yeah, I thought you do too.
Yeah, I have done before. Not so much now.
Okay.
But I have done cameos. I used to do them when I was younger. I used to do them all the time, and I would realize how terrible I was, so I stopped.
No, I see a lot of your stuff where you act, and you're a very good, talented actor.
Oh, thank you so much.
I was very impressed. So that's another thing we haven't talked about. Your acting part of a career. Wayne got this question. This might be a comment, but we'll see whether you can answer this. Why doesn't YouTube take pirated films down quickly? They flag videos so quickly just because of copyright background music, especially the one that so many views. It must be up for a long time. I don't know how to comment that. I think maybe because of you had to request a copyright claim, a DRM. That's what they call it.
Yeah.
And then they had to review that, and then they would strike it down right away. But unfortunately, it takes some time to do that.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so tell us about your acting career, because you've been a lot of other people 48 hours filmed I've seen. I see some of your stuff. With Scott Brochus, he did one that I was very impressed. I mean, your acting is really good.
Yeah, well, Scott's a very talented director. It's funny because I had like my own idea on how to do that character, and I was trying to be all cool and like macho with that character, and then Scott's like, no, do it this way. And I realized like, oh, that actually makes more sense, and that's what I like. I like when other people direct me, because when I direct myself, it's like a parody. Like I try to make everything funny because I feel like I can't act. But when other talented directors come in and actually direct me, and I actually listen to them, and Scott's one of them. Fernando Lopez is another one. I did Midwest Winter with him. And I mean, I love acting. If there's any ever opportunities where people see me fit for a role, I'd be more than happy to read or whatever. But at the same time, it's not like it's my passion. Like I know it's a lot of people's passions is to act, and mine to me is directing. But if there is a part that they feel that I would be good for and that I connect with, and I more than gladly will be happy to collaborate.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I love it. I mean, I originally, I started out as an actor when I was young. I didn't want to direct. I wanted to be an actor. So the first movie that I did, back to the first question, the Conrad, the big disaster movie, I was the main actor. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to showcase and show people how good of an actor I was. And then life got real serious. And then I started really taking behind the camera stuff more seriously. And I stopped acting completely. And it wasn't until like 2014 and Fernando Lopez said, would you want to act in A Midwest Winter as this kind of like gangster who's like a janitor? And I'm like, that's such an interesting character. And I haven't acted in years, but it was so compelling to me. And he had tattoos everywhere, had a handlebar mustache. It was like a transformation. And to me, that felt so compelling. And I understood where he was coming from with the character. And that was exciting. So if there's a script for me that excites me and I feel like I want to play this role, then I do it. And I feel like I have the luxury more than most that I know how to direct and I can direct myself, where I can cheat and add myself in the movie. But I try not to do that too much. And in fact, I haven't really done it, in years. So.
All right. So we got 13 minutes left already. Wow. So
wow.
It really flies. Let's show some of the screen grabs here of grab pictures you have.
Sure.
And then tell us a little bit about them. So while we're going to them.
Let's speed through them. Let's do it.
Can you see it?
It says, I think it's loading. Is it loading?
Uh-oh, it's not loading right. Hold on a second. Let me do this again.
Okay.
Uh-oh, my computer is freezing a little bit.
Oh, no. Technical difficulties.
I know, right? When we're having so much fun right now.
Exactly.
Let's do it again.
Okay, let's try it.
It's working?
It says it's screen sharing. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, I see it. That's from Don't Tell Mama. It was a short film that we did for the Fun Mills competition earlier this year. That was the first movie I did this year. This was before COVID. This was in January. So we did it with Pauline, who did an amazing job in that film. And we had such a fun time. So that was one of the flashback scenes that we did on that film.
Oh, I see Jake all the time. He's a pretty talented sound guy.
Jake is awesome. Jake saves my life. He makes it sound real good. So that one is from my first ever 48-hour film project, which was in 2009, I believe. It might have been 8. No, it was 2009. So this was taken moments after I ran through all of downtown Cleveland to get the DVD to Brian Bowers in his hands. And we literally, I turned it in with 30 seconds to spare. I remember him saying like 30 seconds to go. And then I ran, I swear to God, half a mile, because there was so much traffic. There was like some weird parade happening. And I ran, and then I was so out of breath that I just fell on the floor. And then my producer's just like posing with my corpse. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's on the set of the Candyman Conspiracy. If you remember correctly, I said I made a gangster movie back in 2007. That was young me directing all my gangsters. Good times.
Is that you there in the middle?
That's me in the middle.
Wow, that's look, kind of in that scene, that picture, you look like Vitas.
Oh, really? Yeah. No, but that's me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. That is a screen grab from The Unseen, our horror 48 that we did last year. And that's Vincent there, the main actor. And that's my crew. We got Ashley Watts on the far left. And, we got Jake and David Michael and David Hoffman and DJ and Chris and me behind the boom with the hat. So, yeah, it was a good time. This one was on the set of our Reprise 2013, a short film that I did. I'm really proud of this one. I was 22 years old, and it's one of my favorite shorts that I ever did. It was such a sweet film set. I loved it. I love that film. Oh boy. Oh man. Okay. This one's from The Shadow People, my first ever feature film. That was our dolly, and that was my dolly grip / my producer. His name is Jared Naraki, based out of Columbus. And that was our HV40, the camera strapped to the Rode mic. I mean, that was literally what I made that movie on. It was intense. The movie's 2.5 hours. It's a long one to sit through. But we pulled through. We shot it for like a month and a half. And that was like one of the last days of filming was that one. We look exhausted.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, that one was from Wedding Runner, which is a short film that we did for the 1917 One Shot Challenge, which is we had to make a 2-minute movie in one take. And we did that one at the end of last year. I think it was November of last year. We did that film, and it was all one take, and we won. We actually ended up winning the contest, and Sam Mendes picked our film as the winner, and I got to fly to LA and meet him and attend the 1917 premiere. So that was kind of fun. Ooh, okay. That's our dolly setup. Do you see the guy sitting on the dolly chair? That's the same guy pushing me in the other shot. He moved
really?
up.
Wow.
Now he's in the chair. Now look at him. He's in the chair with the big camera. That was the Red Epic. That was on the set of The Wind is Watching, which is a film I did in 2012. That was like my first big boy movie. That's when I was like playing with big toys and a big crew. And I had no idea what I was doing at 21, I was 21, 22 years old. And, but I was making it up as I went. And it was a fun time. It was a great experience.
Nice.
And that, again, from The Wind is Watching. Had a fun time with those guys. We had a big set piece movie. We had a lot of our soldiers, the United Militia is what I called them. A bunch of really, really fun guys. They were sweating their butts off in those uniforms. It was great.
This was shot in summer, right?
Summer, dead of summer in 2012.
Okay. Definitely hot. Look at this. Who's this young guy?
Oh boy. Who's that fun guy? That's me in a suit. Because I thought I was Hitchcock back then, I guess. That was on the set of my gangster film. And that was our camera, and that was like, I don't know who those people are, to be honest with you. I have no idea who they are, but I'm sure they were great helpers on the film. So yeah, early stuff. Okay, yeah, that's more from those early movies. That was me in Honduras on the lake. It was called the Lake Yohoa. And we were on a boat, and I was getting some beautiful boat shots for the opening of the movie, which turned out quite beautiful, for the film, even though it was, terrible camera, and it was like, before HD. Or no, it was HD, it was 720.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're back. So hold on.
Okay, good.
So
memory lane.
Wow. This is very interesting. So obviously all this is going to still on YouTube, right?
Yeah, lots of those are on.
You know what I'm gonna do, right?
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna start watching them and keep sharing them on Facebook so everybody can see it, and then make fun of you all the time. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing that. But all right, tell us a little about Shade of Red. I mean, that's the only time we have left now. We have like 7 minutes or so, but we can go over a little bit if need to. So tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, so Shades of Red is a project starring McKenna Wayburn and Vincent Sarowitz and a lot of other great talented actors. And it's basically like my own take on Little Red Riding Hood. I always thought, how cool would it be to do a Little Red Riding Hood movie, but you didn't know you were watching a Little Red Riding Hood movie. And you only found out halfway through. So people at film festivals and stuff, I'm hoping that when they see Shades of Red, they have no idea that it's Little Red Riding Hood. I want them to go in kind of blind. And obviously that, for people who watch the trailer, maybe they'll be able to tell and stuff. But I really want them to go in blind and to kind of see this movie, which is mostly about technology, and it's about teenagers using technology and as teenagers wanting to get famous with their social media and stuff, which then turns into a very dark horror version of Little Red Riding Hood. So, yeah.
Sorry, I just knocked my camera down.
Oh yeah, no. I thought.
All right, so let's. That's a good way to start a horror genre. Let's watch the debut teaser trailer.
The premiere of the Shades of Red teaser trailer.
Let's do that. Let's see how it works out.
All right.
Okay. Come on.
Uh-oh.
Is it coming full screen right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yep.
Is it not working or working?
It's lagging a little bit, I think.
All right, hold on a second. Let me do it a little bit. Let me do it this way. I think I have too many things going on at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Her video got over 2 million likes in the first 3 hours. I just don't think copying other people is gonna make you go viral.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna fix something else. Can you hear me? You're muted.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here, there I am.
Okay, my computer crashed.
Oh, wow.
Holy
Okay.
cow.
Wow. This is an exciting live. I love it. So many crazy things happening. It's unexpected.
Wow. we actually got disconnected also from the live stream.
Oh, did we really?
Darn it. Okay, hold on a second. Let me see if I can re-kick it in.
Okay.
Wow, this is crazy.
Hey, there's a first for everything.
I think I know why, because I'm actually using the whole resource of my computer.
Mm.
I have the USB camera going on at the same time.
Oh, wow. That's so strange.
Yeah.
Maybe the trailer was too powerful. It took down.
Maybe that too. Okay, apparently we are still live. Are we still live?
It has always said live on this end.
Okay, so we're still live.
So we didn't crash. So people are still watching.
But somehow my screen crashed.
Oh, okay. Good.
Let's see when anybody can anybody see us yet or no?
I can't see any comments whatsoever, so I'll trust you.
Yeah, I'm asking a question right now. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. We're still live. We are still live. Okay.
Woo-hoo.
All right, let's try to do this again. Wow, I have
again.
I have two Conrads on my screen right now.
Two Conrads. Oh, where am I?
Stand by. Let me
okay, let's do
fix something here. Okay, we're gonna play that again. Let's see when I can share the screen again.
Okay.
That was the weirdest thing to happen.
Hope we don't crash. We got this.
If I can find the link.
Oh yes.
So tell us a little bit more. What are the future projects you've been doing?
Oh, good question. Okay. So I'll talk about the premiere of Shades of Red. Scott Brocious is doing, and I don't think he's announced this yet, so maybe I'm breaking the news. But he told me to promote, so here I am. But he's doing a premiere of his film Vile, his feature film Vile, on September 5th, and he invited my film Shades of Red to play alongside his film. So we're going to be showing the film publicly for the first time on September 5th, and it's at this beautiful outdoor venue that he got in Euclid. So I'm hoping people can come out and watch his film and my film as well.
All right, let's try this one again. Let's try to show the little teaser trailer.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. Is it working?
It's sharing the screen. Yeah. You can full screen it.
I'll do my best.
There we go.
Is there any audio?
No. There it is.
Let's start all over again. Here you go.
Okay.
Her video got over 2 million likes in the first 3 hours. I just don't think copying other people is gonna make you go viral.
Stop watching.
Gotta do what we gotta do, I guess.
Look at that.
Whoa! Wow. I'll watch it. Looks interesting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see any other question. I know there's a question. I just had to figure out how to get my screen back.
Oh no. It happens.
I know. So sorry about this.
Oh no, it's all
embarrassing.
good.
I mean, I tried to use the best tool today, and then somehow it just doesn't want to work with me.
Oh no, maybe give them a bad Yelp review to those tool makers.
Tell me about it, right?
Yeah.
So James Barney said it's his birthday, the day that you guys going to be premiering. So that could be exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be a birthday gift to him. We made this film as a birthday gift to James. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So final question for you. What do you tell? Actually, I have two questions. First is this is from Brian. How do you suggest people to do to crowdfund or to fundraising for their movies? Any suggestion there?
Okay, so how do you like tell people how to like fundraise and like how to raise funds and stuff,
or get funding for their movies?
Get fun. Oh, that's a hard one. Okay, well, it comes from different sources all the time. No, I mean, a lot of my shorts have been produced by similar people and stuff, but for the feature films, I always have different financiers and investors and producers and stuff. And it's usually people who don't have anything to do with the film industry. It's usually people who want to break into the film industry and they want to be involved. So I'll present them and say, hey, listen, I've been doing this for a couple of years. Look at what I have to do. Would you be able to donate like $2,000 or $3,000 into our project? And then we make a financial strategy with them. We'll say, if the movie makes this amount of money, you're going to get this percentage back plus your original investment. So I go after business people and people who just generally like investing in different things. For Fighting the Sky, that was definitely the case. We went after lots of people who were just investors. They were in no relation to movies whatsoever. I think not a single producer on Fighting the Sky was in movies. They were all just like businessmen and women. And then for more recently, it's just people who, really want to be a part of movies. And sometimes my other producers, raise funds for me, and they also go out of their way to kind of raise funds to do the project. So it's like it's all of us kind of combining our efforts as producers and trying to raise the budget. And we usually have 3 budgets that we work with. We have like our bare bones minimum that we could do this movie for, which is usually really low. And then we have like our normal budget, like a reasonable budget that we can do this movie for, which is usually where we land. Then there's our ideal budget, which I don't think we've ever reached, but we aim for it anyway, which is always like in the low millions.
Just like the one that $2,500,000 for you to make a movie. That was an ideal one, right?
We reached for the sky. Yeah, and I had a budget where we could have done it with like $500,000, obviously, but they didn't. Yeah, they didn't pan out. Yeah.
All right. So last question for you, and tell us what would you tell to up and coming filmmakers? What for them to would you inspire them to become better filmmaker?
Okay, the first thing the main thing that I would tell up and coming filmmakers is right now it's such a competitive, saturated market where everyone's making movies. The one thing I would tell them, and that's always their excuse for not starting to make movies, is, oh, there's just so much competition, or, oh, this guy can do it better, or that girl did it better. Screw all that. Make your own story, do your own thing. Doesn't matter what these other people are thinking. It doesn't matter if this guy could do freaking like a giant whatever movie. Do your own movie, do your story. Don't let others influence you or get influenced by others. And then people think that it's all a competition, but it's really not. I mean, you can do your own thing and still sell it and still have it be seen by people. And if you're proud of it, then that's all you need to do. And at the same time, my approach to every single film that I do, especially feature films, is like, I'm going to make a movie that's, and Quentin Tarantino said this in an interview once, it's like, I'm going to throw the audience a piece of nitrate and it's going to blow up in their faces. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be something original and different. So always think outside the box. Think, how can I make this better? How can I make this better than everyone else? It doesn't matter if they can do it better. I'm going to think on how to do it better. Mm-hmm. And I always have that mentality. I always have the mentality of triumph, of just really like succeeding in what I'm doing. And if I don't know how to do something and I find a way to get it done, and it's a lot of persistence. And I'm not saying I'm like a good filmmaker by any means. I'm always learning. I'm a student of film. But you have to understand that you need to build your own style of cinema. You need to build your own style and your own voice. And once you built that voice and your style, you're just going to continuously progress and be better and better and better. I mean, that's honestly my take on films. And I think that's what everyone's take on film should be, is, find the stories that suit you, find the stories that you're burning to tell, and do them so differently, so spectacularly that you can't be ignored.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And that's have this aggressive mindset of saying, if you think you're a filmmaker, but you've never done a movie, then you are a filmmaker. Get yourself a business card. If you've thought about making movies, you're a filmmaker. Get a business card. And that's how you start, because that's how I started. I said, I'm going to do this short film. I haven't even shot a frame, but I'm a filmmaker because I thought about it. I wrote it. And that's what you need to do. Just put yourself out there, do it on your phone, do it however you want, do it on your laptop, mm-hmm. And just get yourself out there, start doing it, start progressing. So great
insight. And actually, a very good thing you said about trying to do something better than anybody else is called healthy competition. I mean, we are you and I are filmmakers. We are actually always competing against each other in the sense of getting better work out there, getting more detailed stuff out there. So but it's healthy because you and I still talk. We're not like, oh, Conrad, he's an asshole. We don't want to talk to him anymore. You know? He's better than he thinks he's better than me in filmmaking. Maybe he is, but you know, that's my problem.
You know, your competition shouldn't even be other filmmakers. Your competition should be the filmmaker you were a year ago.
Yeah,
the filmmaker you were a year ago is your competition.
Or your previous project.
Yeah, I'm competing against who I was on Fighting the Sky. Yeah. And then next year I'm going to be competing against who I was on Stars and Storms. That's your competition. That's your competition. And that's who I'm trying to beat. I love films. I love watching films. Like I said, I digest movies. That's how I learned how to make movies. And to me, you only get better by being like having an aggressive approach on your own style and just being better. So every single time that I do a movie, no matter what it is, it could be like something real small. I'm going to say, even though this is small, I'm going to do it better than that filmmaker me did it 3 or 4 years ago with a bigger project.
Oh, definitely. And because you're challenging yourself to become better.
Yeah,
that's very important.
Absolutely. And you become a better filmmaker. You become, your own artist once you do that.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. And thank you, Conrad, to be here with me in this Monday night. So again, thank you, everybody. Excuse me, for watching this. Yeah. Next Monday, we actually get one of my favorite composer, my friend composer, Eric Kumar. He's been with me since 2003, composing all my films. So he'll be a spotlight for next Monday. So stay tuned for that. Again, Conrad, thank you again for being here. Stay with me a little bit after we shut off